To whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? Who has believed the report of the arm of the all capital Lord God, the deity of Israel? This is a very plain question. The answer is the one that behaves in a certain way when they understand what that report is. And that report concerns the movement, not of the all capital Lord God of Israel, but of another, the Lord all capital God. Going into the Bible, 1 Kings 8:51, for they be thy people and thine inheritance, which thou broughtest forth out of Egypt from the midst of the furnace of iron. Who is this individual praying to? 1 Kings 8:53, for thou didst separate them from among all the people of the earth to be thine inheritance, as thou spakest by the hand of Moses thy servant, when thou broughtest our fathers out of Egypt, O Lord, all capital God. When we think of the Exodus, we may be a little bit lost as to who the Exodus is to be attributed to deity-wise. The deity of Israel claims these people, yet the deity of Israel, the all capital Lord, and these people know it, is not the one behind their deliverance. This is not the one they pray to or through. They pray to or through the Lord all capital God, because this is the deity next to their deity that claimed them, that delivered them. Going into the book of Exodus 23:20-23, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, to bring thee into the place which I prepared. Beware of him, obey his voice, don't provoke him. He will not pardon your transgressions, my name is in him. If thou shalt indeed obey his voice, do all that I say and speak, I'll be an enemy unto your enemies and an adversary unto your adversaries, because my angel will go before thee, bringing thee into the land of the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Canaanites, Hivites, Jebusites. I will cut them off. This Lord all capital God is that angel. This all capital God, Lord all capital God, this angel has the responsibility of transgression, of pardon, and of bearing the name of the all capital Lord in him. There's only one that fulfills this role, and that is called high priest, because that is who the Lord all capital God is. The high priest of the all capital Lord God of Israel. This people know this. This text knows this. The authors writing this know this. 2025, we don't know this, and we should. To the book of Judges. Who is the Lord all capital God? Judges 16:28-30. Samson called unto the Lord, pay attention, the all capital Lord, and said, O Lord, all capital God. We have the main character here crying out for his deity, yet he's not crying out for his deity. He's acknowledging his deity in the name of the other, because the other is the one for whom you acknowledge that deity through. That's the high priest within the heavenly sanctuary of their mythology, next to the main deity that they call their own all capital Lord God. Samson's praying. Verse 29, Samson took hold of the two middle pillars upon which the house stood and on which it was borne up, of the one on the right, of the one on the left. Verse 30, Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. Bowed his head with all his might. The house fell upon the lords and upon the people that were all therein. He slew in his death more than which he slew in his life. When calling upon the name of the Lord, all capital God, one is calling on the name of a destroyer. The Lord, all capital God, is a destroyer. And yet, in another context, in the book of Exodus and in the Kings, the Lord, all capital God, is deliverer, is savior. This is the thought process of these people, not of us. We have nothing to do with this. The text speaks for itself. The philosophy within the text speaks for itself. The mythology within the text of the Bible speaks for itself to the Psalms. Psalm 109:21. But do thou for me, O all capital G-O-D, the Lord, for your name's sake, because your mercy is good, deliver me. Psalm 141:8. But my eyes are unto you, all capital G-O-D, the Lord, in you is my trust. Do not leave my soul destitute. We have to understand that when we get into Psalm 110, the one at the right hand of the all capital L-O-R-D does not change. This is always the Lord, all capital G-O-D, and his role is emphasized further within that chapter. Yet his role is also diverse. Again, he's not just a deliverer. This mythological figure, when things happen, the connotation is destruction. Isaiah 22:4-5. Isaiah 22:4-5. Therefore said I, look away from me. I will weep bitterly, labor not to comfort me, because of the spoiling of the daughter of my people. For it is a day of trouble, and of treading down, and of perplexity by who? All capital G-O-D, Lord. By the Lord, all capital G-O-D, of hosts. This is the report that when you get to Isaiah 53, the reader is supposed to be cognizant of. This is the report, and the report has within it the destroyer. And the destroyer, the report, it is all connected to the Lord, all capital G-O-D. And so again, we get the question. Who has believed the report of the all capital L-O-R-D gods? Lord, all capital G-O-D. That's who the report's about. That's the arm. The arm is the Lord, all capital G-O-D. These two figures go hand in hand. Who has believed the report concerning this arm of the all capital L-O-R-D God? Who has believed it? How do you know they've believed it? Who? How can we pick them out? Isaiah 28:21-22. For the Lord shall rise up as in Mount Perazim. He shall be as wroth in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Pay attention to who this act and this work and this strange behavior is. Verse 21 says it is the all capital L-O-R-D who is going to rise up. Is it the same in verse 22? Continuing this stream of thought. Now therefore be ye not mockers, lest your bands be made strong. For I have heard from the Lord, all capital G-O-D host. That's the report. I have heard. I have heard from the Lord, all capital G-O-D of hosts, a consumption even determined upon the whole earth. This is the report. The report is of the consumption of the Lord, all capital G-O-D. How are we supposed to know that what we are hearing of the Lord, all capital G-O-D is true? Who believes this? Who should believe this? Who has believed this? Who will believe this? Isaiah 22:12-14. And in that day did the Lord, all capital G-O-D of hosts, call to weeping and to mourning and to baldness and to girding with sackcloth. And behold, joy and gladness, slaying oxen and killing sheep, eating flesh and drinking wine. Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we shall die, say they. And it was revealed in mine ears by the Lord of hosts. Surely this iniquity shall not be purged from you till you die, saith. Now wait a minute. Verse 14 is giving us two different speeches and two different messages from two different people here. I thought at the beginning of this verse, it said that my ears heard the all capital L-O-R-D God speaking, but by the end of it, the message is This iniquity will not be purged from you till you die, says the Lord, all capital G-O-D. What's going on here? See, this is Bible narrative. And specifically in the kind of context for which this is relevant, cultural Bible context. Until we can understand the cultural scheme of narrative behind these things, we will not be able to grasp the way in which they are supposed to be understood and the way in which the authors writing these things want us to understand them. The message is ultimately a saying. And this saying is as if coming from their deities, because there's not just one. There's two. Plenty of illustrations I've shown before. David calls the Lord, all capital G-O-D, God also, as also in the Psalms, because this is the God of the heavenly sanctuary, meaning this is the high priest of the heavenly sanctuary, who stands at the right hand as destroyer and deliverer of the all capital L-O-R-D, their supposed main deity. And yet again, what is this report? Still in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 49, 9 and 10. O Zion, that bringest good tidings, that's the report. The good tidings are the report. Get you up into the high mountain, O Jerusalem, that bringeth the report, that bringeth good tidings. Lift up your voice with strength, lift it up, be not afraid. Now cry and say what? Behold your God. The manifestation of your God is present. Who are to we behold? Who is this report about? Verse 10, behold, the Lord, all capital G-O-D, will come with strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. The report, the message is that the Lord, all capital G-O-D, is to manifest, and the arm of the Lord, all capital G-O-D, will be working for him. What we have is the arm of the Lord, all capital G-O-D, working for him. The all capital L-O-R-D, God's arm, is the Lord, all capital G-O-D. The arm of the Lord, all capital G-O-D, is going to work for him for a consumption in the land. This is the report. Hearing and knowing the report, who has believed it?
We are to have, as is said and believed when it comes to life and religion, faith. But when it comes to exercising faith, a very crucial aspect of having and exercising faith isn't mentioned. In order to have faith in anything, we need to know what we would have faith in. This book looks into how the Bible defines the process of justification. We are supposed to know what we believe. Personal knowledge will bring life to our experience with the Bible. Get justification to know how to safely take care of your faith.
The answer to the question who has believed the report, it is an answer that is to be understood and demonstrated via deportment, via mindset, via act, via behavior. Who believes this message? How do you know they believe this message? Isaiah 48:16, come ye near unto me, hear this. I have not spoken in secret from the beginning, from the time that it was, there am I. And now the Lord, all capital G-O-D, and his Spirit has sent me. The one that believes this message, the one that truly understands this report, they're going to pick up a message. The one that believes will pick up a message and will go and speak. And they will speak in a certain way and carry themselves in a certain way to reflect the gist of that appointment and how crucial it is to the land, to the folks, and especially to the priesthood. How do they do this, though? How do they demonstrate outwardly their revelation of this message, of this report? How do they manifest their belief? How are we supposed to know that they believe the report? How are we supposed to know that we believe the report? We get our answer in Isaiah 53. 4 and 5, surely he hath borne our griefs, carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. He was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. The response of the one that believes this report is that they adopt the transgressions of the land and of the priesthood. The response and the behavior of the one that believes this report transfers the error and the wrong in the land from the land to themselves. They carry about within themselves the wrong that the land should be feeling. They carry about and then demonstrate with and from themselves the error that the priesthood should be demonstrating and feeling and repenting for. Nothing here is literal. This is not a literal transference, as the force of this chapter is placed onto the theory of the Jesus character. There is no embodying of a transgression. There is no embodying of this or that or carrying away, and there is no literal reception of the illness of human fault for the release and the expiation of it through the sacrifice of an individual. That's not what this is about. Everything here spoken is figurative. It is figurative and it is embodied internally. Figurative and embodied internally, as we saw in the previous episode, as the host of Nineveh did, as the host of Ahab did. It is the same bearing of error. It's figurative. And so a little bit of a breakdown is necessary to see this word in the Hebrew, transgression, to see what this is actually connoting when we're hearing that stricken for the transgressions, bearing the transgressions. Pesha is the word for this. Pesha. Transgression or rebellion. It can be against individuals, it can be against the nation, or it can be against the deity. And in general, it is recognized by the sinner themselves as the deity deals with it or forgives at the same time. And it is a blatant guilt of transgression or of a punishment for transgression, or in a sense, offering for transgression. In the Strongs, we get a revolt or a rebellion. This is what transgression is, a trespass. To be stricken for the transgression is to suffer an internal blow at the rebellion of the priesthood for whom this is for. Everything here is for the priesthood and for the land. An example found in Lamentations 3:41 to 51, a couple of verses. Let us lift up our heart with our hands unto God in the heavens. We have transgressed and have rebelled. Thou hast not pardoned. Thou hast covered with anger and persecuted us. Thou hast slain, thou hast not pitied. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud that our prayer should not pass through. Thou hast made us an offscoring and refuse in the midst of the people. All our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Fear and a snare has come upon us, desolation and destruction. Mine eye runneth down with rivers of water. Mine eye runneth down with rivers of water for the destruction of the daughter of my people. Mine eye trickleth down and ceaseth not without any intermission, till the Lord look down and behold from heaven. Mine eye affecteth mine heart because of all the daughters of my city. This is the reality of Isaiah 53's main character, carrying within themselves the transgression of the land, and specifically of the priesthood. This is the reality. The Isaiah 53 main character, this is not a Messiah figure who is going to take my sins in himself, and his death and his blood is going to do a whole lot of fanatical things. That's not what this is about, and that's not on the mind of the author writing this. The main character of Isaiah 53 is not the nation or people of Israel. The Jewish theory is incorrect on that. The cultural context of this chapter in Isaiah 53 and the way that its language is used throughout Lamentations, Jeremiah, Daniel, Isaiah, confesses that theory to be false, that it is related to the nation of Israel, this main character. In reality, the main character of Isaiah 53 is an individual whose disposition, understanding the report of the Lord, all capital G-O-D, changes to one of humility and to one of taking on the errors of the land within themselves and going about doing so in a humiliating fashion for a specific psychological reason that I have yet to disclose, either now or in the previous episode, but for a very logical reason culturally to these people and to their religious belief. And so going back and reading that verse in Isaiah 53, 4 and 5, surely he hath borne our griefs, carried our sorrows. We did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. With his stripes we are healed. Everything here is internally embodied. How can we know that though? Luckily for us, the authors of the Bible have already given us an illustration of who embodied this disposition so that we can know and don't have to make any sort of weird guesses depending on our non-denominational or denominated belief. To the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 45, 2 and 3. Thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, unto you, Baruch, thou didst say, woe is me now, for the Lord hath added grief to my sorrow. Who has added grief to sorrow but the deity of Israel? I fainted in my sighing, and I find no rest. The concept from Isaiah 53 is embodied here. Remember, the individual was wounded. God did that. Their deity did that. He was bruised. Their deity did that. He was chastised. Their deity did that. He carried within himself griefs and sorrows. Their deity did that. This is not literal. This is all figurative transference. Book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 15, 15 to 18. O Lord, thou knowest, remember me and visit me, and revenge me of my persecutors. Take me not away in thy long suffering. Know that for thy sake I have suffered rebuke. Same embodiment from Isaiah 53, 4 and 5. It's the same thing here. Thy words were found, and I did eat them, and thy word was unto me the joy and rejoicing of mine heart, for I am called by thy name, O Lord God of hosts. I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoiced. I sat alone because of thy hand, for thou hast filled me with indignation. Why is my pain perpetual and my wound incurable, which refuse to be healed? And wilt thou altogether be unto me as a liar, and as waters that fail? Isaiah 53's main character adopts this disposition. This is a disposition shared by the character Jeremiah. This is a disposition shared by the character Ezekiel. This is a disposition shared by the character Daniel. This is a disposition that is adopted within the individual devotional character, within the individual conscience. Nothing from Isaiah 53 is literal in that embodiment of being despised and full of sorrows and griefs and suffering chastisement and embodying within themselves and taking upon themselves the error of the land. It's not literal. And it's not mythological, and there is no Greek theory that can make that so, according to the cultural context of this text. What we are seeing in Isaiah 53 is a main character embodying the disposition of the Baruch character, of the Jeremiah character, who is suffering a wound for the land because of a report that they know. And this wound that they're suffering is coming from the ignorance within the land. The response of the folks to this message and to the report of it, it is heaping upon them pain within, because ignorance is the reason for the report, and ignorance is continuing as the report is happening, and ignorance will be the reason why the report is fulfilled. And so again, what can be an even clearer understanding of what it means to bear about the quote-unquote error, the quote-unquote sins, the quote-unquote transgressions or chastisement of the folks, to the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel 23, 48, 49, 48. Thus will I cause lewdness to cease out of the land, that all women may be taught not to do after your lewdness, and they shall recompense your lewdness upon you, and you shall bear the sins of your idols, and you shall know that I am who? Because this is the one that's always orchestrating this. You shall know that I am the Lord, all capital, G-O-D. The bearing of the transgressions, as we see in the book of Isaiah 53, the bearing of the griefs and the sorrows, it is in the same literary and linguistic context as in this verse in Ezekiel concerning the bearing of the idols. It's not literal. It's philosophical and it is figurative. The individual within Isaiah 53 is fulfilling a deportment and is behaving to act out that deportment for a specific reason, logical, culturally, to them. To Isaiah 52. Isaiah 52, 13 and 14, behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high. As many were astonished at thee, his visage was so marred. His visage was so marred. His visage was so marred, more than any man and more than the sons of men. What does this translate to mean? Lamentations 4, 7 and 8. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the street. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick. The one here whose visage is changed more than the sons of men, as we already saw, the sons of men is a class of their own. This is the priesthood. The individual from Isaiah 53 carried over from the end of Isaiah 52, their visage is willingly unknown, and they are making it willingly unknown for a specific point of crying out to their deity. Again, episode prior, this one, that's not the relevance for the reason for why this behavior is going on. What's relevant is who has believed the report. The one that believes this report, their visage will take on this appearance. This isn't literal. This is the appearance of their devotional character and the outward manifestation of it at the crucial time of and only of this report of the Lord, all capital G-O-D, his arm.
Journey into a marriage of self-discovery with growth. Immerse yourself in eloquent verses that tenderly explore the bond between heart and mind, unveiling the art of self-love. Embark on a poetic odyssey between the heart's yearnings and the mind's reflections, as they come together to highlight self-acceptance. Growth is a collection that gracefully unfolds the intricate chapters of one's own narrative, each poem a testament to the intertwining journey of love, vulnerability, and cooperation. As you turn each page, you'll witness the blossoming of self-compassion, a gradual revelation as you navigate the labyrinth of emotions and thoughts. Discover the power and the beauty that arises from valuing your worth. Growth invites you to nurture your heart and mind, cultivating a garden of self-love. Observe and embrace the journey. Explore, evolve, and find solace in the verses that resonate with your very soul.
So now I can go ahead and just say this very simply, very plainly. What is the report that Isaiah 53 verse 1 talks about? The report is the Lord, all capital G-O-D, is manifesting with a specific world-ruling, universal, religious military to destroy the land, and specifically in this case, the city and the sanctuary. Who has believed this report? How do we know that they believe this report? They carry about within themselves the wrongs of the land and the wrongs of the priesthood. They carry about within themselves, and they willingly chastise themselves before their deity, for their deity to acknowledge them, for the sake of the land, to act as an intercessor for the land. This is why when we see Isaiah 53 in verse 7, he was oppressed and afflicted, yet opened not his mouth. He was brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and a sheep before her hairs is dumb. So he opened not his mouth. Now pay attention here, because we don't have to question who this is about. And I'll show you in the book of Jeremiah, because it's very plain we can't mess this up. We can't. And if we do, it's due to some sort of strange religious theoretical training that we want and that we do or have had for this particular scene. Because this very scene, it happened. Jeremiah 11:18-20. And the Lord hath given me knowledge of it, and I know it. Then thou showest me their doings. He's talking about the report. But I was like a lamb or an ox that is brought to the slaughter, and I knew not that they had devised devices against me, saying, let us destroy the tree with the fruit thereof, and let us cut him off from the land of the living, that his name may be no more remembered. But, O Lord of hosts, that judgest righteously, that triest the reins in the heart, let me see your vengeance on them, for unto you have I revealed my cause. This is the very same scene from Isaiah 53. Very same scene. Brought as a lamb, said nothing. Nothing in it, saying nothing. Isaiah, brought as a lamb to the slaughter, saying nothing. Same scene, because the main character in Isaiah 53 is a Jeremiah. I'm not saying that this is Jeremiah, despite the author blatantly saying, or we can blatantly see the authors confirming Jeremiah to fit this description, because it is in the narrative of Jeremiah, the same wording in context as in Isaiah. This is a Jeremiah. Isaiah 53 is a Jeremiah. In every age and in every generation where the report of the Lord, all capital G-O-D, is manifesting, a Jeremiah will step up to fulfill this. This is not a Messiah figure, as it is wrong to say that. Linguistically and contextually, that's not what this is about. This is not the nation of Israel. Linguistically and contextually, that's not what this is about. This is about a Jeremiah who has heard the report and who goes around telling the leaders and the leadership, because we have to remember this main character is a member of the priesthood, about the report, getting rejected for that report, carrying about within themselves the pain of that rejection and the pain of the vision of what will happen due to that rejection, and the logical reasoning behind, culturally for them and linguistically, contextually, the disorder that is found by not readjusting the conversation to appease their deity, to stop whatever intention that deity has for them. That's all this chapter in Isaiah 53 is about. And the book of Jeremiah, the main character of Jeremiah, the character Jeremiah fulfills it. Fulfills it. We don't have to guess. Bible never makes us guess. We just have to be able to understand the linguistic and cultural context behind the minds writing these things. And so why is the character Jeremiah fulfilling word by word what is going on in Isaiah 53 to the Lamentations? Lamentations 3:51-56. Mine eye affected mine heart because of all the daughters of my city. My enemies chase me sore like a bird without cause. They have cut off my life in the dungeon and cast a stone upon me. Waters flowed over mine head. Then I said, I am cut off. I called upon thy name, O Lord, out of the low dungeon. Thou hast heard my voice. Hide not thine ear at my breathing, at my cry. None of this is literal. What we have going on in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and within the Christian theory, forcing a connection between their main character and Isaiah 53's main character, it's illogical. It's irrational. It is a force. It is a context taken out of context, because culture and linguistic context isn't taken into consideration by those authors beyond the book of Malachi. So if we can just stay within the context of the scriptures, we can understand the narrative that is going on within the scriptures. What we're reading in Isaiah 53, it's not literal. The application is not to a nation. The application is not to a Greek Christ or a mythological Greek Jewish savior. The acknowledgement is to a Jeremiah, and how a Jeremiah will react in the context of a report of an appearing Lord, all capital G-O-D. In reality, in the book of Jeremiah, who is appearing, is the king of Babylon. That's the arm of the Lord, all capital G-O-D. And the arm of the all capital L-O-R-D God is the Lord, all capital G-O-D, where the Lord, all capital G-O-D, is using his arm, the king of Babylon, the kingdom of Babylon, to destroy the land. Who believes this report? Who believes this report is the question. Well, we can know who believes it by how they act and how they behave and what they say and how they manifest their sorrow for the vision or for the report that they are receiving concerning the Lord, all capital G-O-D. And they're doing so to gain lenience. Example is found in David. 1 Chronicles 21, 26, and 27, David built there an altar unto the Lord and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings and called upon the Lord, and he answered him from heaven by fire. The Lord commanded the angel, and he put up his sword against the sheath thereof. Now, David had violated his deity, and his deity gave him the option to choose. How do you want me to destroy the land? David said, you go ahead and choose. I trust you. Whatever happened, happened. And eventually David, to gain leniency, humbled himself enough to construct an altar and to offer it. And when that happened, his deity said, no, put up the sword against these people. I've seen the humility of David. Just as we saw in the last episode of the Ninevites and of the king of Israel, Ahab, the reason that the main character of Isaiah 53 goes about carrying in themselves the burdens and the wounds that the land, the priesthood, is inflicting upon their deity is to gain the kind of lenience that David here gains in the Chronicles. Whoever believes the report, they're going to behave like this.